And
find yourself a spot, come up in like where there's more room, not where the chairs are too close, you have room to, not feel like you're gonna hit anybody.
That's
never
just it.
nice in yoga.
Natalie, if you would first tell us a little bit about just what it is you do and how you got interested in it and what else people can find if they come to your studio.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, hi, thank you for the warm welcome. And yes, I've been in the Elgin area for about 24 years now and became a certified yoga teacher in 2002, followed by doing massage therapy starting in 2003. And I have been a professor at Elgin Community College in massage therapy, but with a foundation in sound body mechanics. So my life has been all about movement. I spent my childhood in pain, most of my adult life in pain. And the first time I recognized that I might have control over my pain was in my first yoga class. And the very first time I went, again, this is in 2002 when there weren't studios in every corner like there are now. And I was so happy because I had gone from, I bought Yoga for Dummies because I didn't know where to go take a class. And I'm looking at the pictures I'm trying to do, and I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, what's the point? I don't get it. And then thankfully an old friend from high school reached out, we got in touch, and she happened to be taking a yoga class. So I went and took the class, one of the classes with her, and I fell in love. In the first few minutes, we were just sitting there and learning how to position our head, and I'm like, wait a minute, my neck doesn't hurt? I didn't know this was a possibility, it always hurts. And and I can't say it was completely gone, but it was half of what I'm used to. And I was like, this is amazing. And then I went through the rest of the class. Some of it, I couldn't believe. I had 3 profound moments in that very first yoga class. First, it was, wow, I had some control over this pain and how I move. Second was, we went on hands and knees, and my arms were trembling, and I thought, damn, am I weak? And then the third was toward the end. We'd gone into bridge pose, which if you're not familiar with yoga, we were on our back, knees bent, and you lift your hips, and I was able to do that fine. And then the instructor said, and if it's in your practice, we'll bring our arms over our head and hands back, fingertips toward the shoulders, and press them forward to lift into wheel. And I did. And it was my first day of yoga, and most of the people who've been practicing 7 years couldn't do it. And she came over and said, and how long have you been practicing? And I said, today. And she was like, okay. And she later told me, you need to come be a teacher. And it turns out I'm hypermobile. And that is the foundation of the majority of my pain. So a lot of people with hypermobility have pain, but also people who just don't know how to necessarily move their bodies properly and what they're doing will experience a lot of pain. So that's what I've spent my career doing, is helping people manage their pain through movement and massage. I help most of my clients now with how they move in their own exercise, and I actually have an online program to help people learn how to breathe correctly, actually engage their core at the same time, because what you're learning on most social medias and stuff, where they say lay on the floor, put a pillow on your belly and push it out, is not diaphragmatic breathing. That will not get you there, and whenever I try it, I feel like I'm starving for air. It is not a diaphragmatic breath. So we're gonna actually work a little bit toward that tonight as I guide you into your body, so that hopefully you can feel a little bit deeper of a breath, because the breath is so important. So important that a lot of people don't realize that if you aren't breathing properly, you are going to add to your neck pain. You are likely going to have improper digestion. You can also add to your heart issues, have constipation, more stress and anxiety. There are so many things that come just from not breathing well. And I would say probably 80% of the population or so is not breathing well. And so I even reversed thoracic outlet syndrome by going back to diaphragmatic breathing, because so I had learned to breathe really well in yoga, and then in 21 I had a rollover car accident. So that was very traumatic, and I thought I broke bones and dislocated shoulder, and I did have fractured ribs. So when you fracture ribs, you don't want your rib cage expanding anymore. All of a sudden I was like, oh, it hurts to breathe. So I went back to chest breathing, because it was the only way I could breathe until it healed. And what I didn't realize though was I was still chest breathing probably 2 years later. I hadn't picked up on it because I hadn't really gotten back to yoga, because I couldn't even put my arms on the floor because it hurt too much. But so eventually I'm getting nerve pain down with my left arm, and I'm like, what is this? Saw doctor after doctor, and one day I saw a really bad TikTok on how to breathe diaphragmatically. So he didn't know how to describe the diaphragm correctly. It did not work like he said. You don't breathe like that, but it did make me go, wait a minute, I stopped diaphragmatically breathing when I hurt my ribs. And the first moment I did, the nerve pain went away. And I had a couple of times when I had to remind myself, I'd be working, and I feel it, oh yeah, nerve pain's gone. And because, so that this makes sense to you, and it might not make perfect clear sense, but when we don't breathe diaphragmatically, so a couple of things happen. Our diaphragm lines the underside of our rib cage. So our rib cage goes all the way around front to back. It's one of the few muscles in our body that's not long and linear, like on our arms and legs, they tend to be long and linear. This is circular. So it's one of our circular muscles, and so it's basically like, if you think of this being the underside of the rib cage, lining all around here, and when we inhale, it comes down and flat. This is where it's contracted, our rib cage will spread out. As we exhale, it relaxes and comes up, kind of like an umbrella. I like to think of an umbrella closing, and it comes up, and as it comes up, that point's gonna push up into the ribs, and it pushes out the air. And when you contract it, it comes down flat, and that's drawing in the air to fill the lungs. They work like a vacuum. They're just like a couple of paper bags we're filling up by the movement of the diaphragm. So when you're pushing out your belly, all you're doing is getting a little fraction of that vacuum, not what the whole diaphragm can do. And I can show you a difference. So here's gonna be, I'm gonna keep my hands here so you can see where my diaphragm is and where it would move, and I'll show you diaphragmatic breath. Do you see that expansion? All in the rib cage. And now here's a belly breath. No rib cage. And again, I feel like I'm starving, you know? And any of you can try pushing your belly out and feel like you're getting, like try to get as deep as you can. It's like, not enough air. But if you can change to this, which isn't easy, we'll go through a few things to help you get there, but if you can get, and start expanding into your back. Because imagine like you're gardening, you're doing dishes, you're riding a bicycle, anything where you're forward, how are you gonna push your belly out then too? You can't. Or the times that maybe you want to lay on the floor and do some core exercises or engage your core for a plank. If you do what you're always told, like lay down and flatten your back, we'd be walking around like this all the time. And then how do you breathe diaphragmatically? You can't do anything like this, you just walk weird. So it's not about flattening your back, it's not about just tightening your belly. There's a bunch of different parts that go into it. And so it can take time to learn all of these pieces. And that's why, again, I have a program, and I also teach a weekly yoga class. You can work with me one-on-one, but those are different options. So I did pass out some of my cards before a few of you came in. I have a couple left, but I also have my QR code on the sign up here that you can always scan before you go. So as we go through this, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with just getting you guys really present in your bodies and getting familiar with how they feel right now. Because oftentimes one thing we're missing in our daily life is connection with what's happening right now in our body. Our minds are constantly like, well, I gotta do that, gotta be here, gotta do this. And then we wonder why we can't sleep at night. And really, that's because all day long we've told our brain, go here, do this, do that, and then we lay down, it's like, and now be quiet. And it's like, huh? Yeah, all day you told me to jump from this, jump to that, I'm still jumping from one thing to the next, and now you want me to be still? And so if we never take the time during the day to teach our mind, be still now. Just take a few seconds, be still, be quiet. Yeah, so you can do that, focus on the breath. Then we go to bed, it's not all unfamiliar because we maybe did it 2 or 3 times throughout the day. It's just like, you know, if you let your dog pee in the house all day and then you're upset after 5 o'clock that they're peeing in the house because now you want to take them outside, you can't, it's what you told them all day to do. If you're telling your brain all day, just jump around, do whatever you feel like, you know, here and there, and then you go to sleep and it's like, come on. It's impossible. And that's what I learned before yoga. I never fell asleep easily. It would take me hours sometimes. And through yoga, what I learned was how to connect with my body, connect with my breath, and it was the ending savasana when I started realizing, I'm like, wait, I am so relaxed here. And so when I would lay in bed at night, I would lay in savasana, and I would hear my teacher's voice in my head, and relax your face and the point between your eyebrows, and soften your jaw. And I'd go through my body. Before I knew it, I was out. And I started doing that, and I don't know, maybe a week or so in, I didn't really have to do it anymore. My body was just like, I get that now. And it helps if you practice that throughout the day. You know, when you're doing dishes, just do the dishes. How are you breathing? Just how dirty are the dishes? You know, you gotta rinse them. Try to just be present. You gotta walk the dog. Just try to enjoy the walk. Don't check your phone, listen to a podcast, just breathe. Feel the ground and feel the breeze. So any opportunities you can choose like that. Even on your way home, sometimes when you get in the car, just leave the music off. Hear the tires on the road. Let your mind just be clear, observe, rather than, you know, when thoughts come to mind, you can always just say, oh wait, I'm thinking again. Just, how am I breathing? Sky's blue. A bird flew by. Just simple observations of now, and everything can shift. And when we shift our nervous system, that's the start of pain reduction. A lot of people don't realize that when the nervous system stays at high alert, your pain level's also gonna stay at high alert. We have to calm the nervous system so that the rest of the body can calm down and that pain response can come down. So it's gonna kind of be multifolded today, what I share with you, and so I hope that you enjoy the experience. And so I know some of you brought yoga mats. If as we go through the gentle movement, you feel like getting up, you could put out your mat, you could stand on that, you could just stand up on your feet on the floor, you don't have to have a mat. We're not gonna do anything where you need to lay on the floor, so you don't really need a mat. But I would like to invite you, if it's available to you and you would like to do this, to maybe take off your shoes. To also, if you're holding anything, you know, your purse, your phone, maybe put your phone on Do Not Disturb so it's not even buzzing so you don't have to hear it. Because there's nothing worse than trying to relax or focus on something and you hear bzzz, and it's like, oh, what is that? And then you'll never focus. Everybody in the room will be going, who was that? So just to, you know, get yourself as separated from those things as possible so they hopefully aren't trying to bother you. And so a lot of people don't realize too about a yoga class is that a yoga class, you know, we typically see the yoga class as all these physical exercises, and you know, you hear like, you know, maybe it's for a yoga butt, to be healthy, whatever, but what is it really for? Yoga, the word itself means union. Yoga, the practice, the physical practice, is one aspect of 8 limbs of yoga. So it actually is more important to focus on the mindfulness, the connection, the breath, than it is even the movement. But what the movement does is it prepares our body to be still, to focus on the breath. And that's why that physical aspect is involved. Because if we are just, again, you know, like maybe working a desk job, working in the farm, whatever it is, we're gonna go to sit down and our body's gonna be like, did you feel that? And what about those other things? We have to get our body and our mind on track and together, that union, the mind-body union, so then we can be still. So that's where that movement's gonna come from. So this is gonna be kind of like a mini yoga class, but we're not gonna have to lay on the floor. So for now, you're welcome to put your feet flat on the floor, because not everybody's gonna wanna fold their legs, but you're welcome to fold your legs if you prefer. So I'm gonna invite you just to take a moment, and if it's comfortable to you, to close your eyes. But again, in any of this, everything is a suggestion, and you don't have to do anything. There are no orders or commands. If you need to use the bathroom, get up and go. The only rule is don't touch anybody. At least as best as you can not to. But so if you prefer to keep your eyes open, just allow a soft gaze so that your gaze is just somewhere in the room, not on anybody or anything in particular, but just softly gazing out as you turn your attention inward. And as you go inside, I want you to just take a moment and observe your breath. Just notice what the qualities of your breath are. And this has nothing to do with getting upset with yourself, arguing with what you're noticing, you know, maybe being upset that it's short or shallow, just observation. It's all just awareness. Receiving of information. When you breathe in, how does the air feel at the base of the nostrils? Do you notice maybe a subtle difference in the feel of the air from when it enters the nostrils to when it exits? Maybe observing that as you inhale, the air entering the body feels a little bit drier and cooler. And as you exhale, the air as it passes over the upper lip and out of the nostrils feels a little warmer and more moistened by the body. As you continue breathing, and the next breath enters through the nostrils, follow it with your mind's eye and see where it goes. It comes up through the nostrils, through the sinuses, and begins moving down the windpipe. Does it stop near the shoulders or upper chest? Do you feel any expansion in the back or lower in the rib cage? Exhaling, just allow that breath to go. Inhaling again, just observe. As you this time exhale, I invite you to draw your navel in a little closer to your spine, your ribs together and down at the bottom, and push out every last bit of air that you can. And then allow the next breath to enter. As that breath enters, do you notice maybe, does it take a little longer to fill? Do the lungs fill a little bit more deeply? Maybe the breath is filling more into the lower ribs and not just the upper ribs and shoulders. Just awareness and observation. As you continue observing the movement of the breath, I invite you to begin consciously taking that breath a little bit deeper. Seeing if you can get each inhalation and exhalation to begin lasting to about a count of 4. Breathing in so that the air begins filling up the lowest part of the rib cage, expanding to the front, the sides, the back, filling up the middle lung, the upper lung, and then exhaling. The top of the chest is released, the middle and the bottom as the navel moves in, the ribs together and down, and we repeat. Filling at the bottom, the middle, and to the top. Exhaling from the top, through the middle, and to the bottom. One more time. Exhaling. See if you can make your exhalation just a little bit longer. See if you can draw your lower back ribs in away from the chair slightly. As you inhale, can you expand into those lower back ribs, feeling them press out and back into the chair? There. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4. Again, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4. Continue breathing in that way, slow and deep, and allow your attention to remain inward. As you now allow your spine to begin lengthening, with your next inhalation, I want you to think about if you were facing a mirror, what you would do to give yourself a couple extra chins. Now everybody's eyes are closed, nobody's going to look, but your eyes would be straight forward, because a lot of times what happens when we think about a chin tuck is a lot of people will lift the chin, other people will drop their chin to the floor, and it's about keeping the underside of the chin parallel with the floor, but drawing the head straight back and feeling the base of the skull lift slightly toward the ceiling. So now there's more openness to the back of the neck, the base of the skull, and you might also feel like you can lift right through the spine and draw a straight line through from the spine, through the skull, and out through the top of the head there where it's lifting upwards. That is where the crown is. And you could even, I invite you to take your hand, bring the heel of your hand to the center crease of the forehead, and extend your middle finger back onto the top center of the head. And where you press that middle finger down is again about that place you should be feeling that lift from. Imagine a string coming from that place, lifting your spine up toward the ceiling, lifting your skull. As you do so, you might notice that your shoulders kind of leave the chair. That's actually ideal. Oftentimes, chairs are built for us just to recline into. If we actually want to engage our core, we're not going to be touching our shoulder blades so much against the chair. So I invite you to try lifting through your crown. And then as you exhale, soften the shoulders. Soften any excess tension you may feel in the neck as you keep that lift at the base of the skull and continue drawing your ears backwards over the shoulders. See how far back you can get your head, and then pause there, and again just let that head soften slightly, noticing how it will likely move forward slightly, but probably not as far forward as it was initially before you drew it back. So the chin is down slightly, like you're trying to give yourself a few extras. The base of the skull lifts. The shoulders are down and back. Now from here, I'm going to invite you, and at any time, if you feel like you need to open up your eyes to see what I'm doing as I demonstrate, feel free to. But what I want try to not do is just do like, oh, I'm not doing it well enough, I'm not doing it right. Just, oh, okay, it's like that, and then try it. If it doesn't look quite like me, that's also okay. But so for this next part, to feel how your shoulders can position, turn your palms up and take them out to the sides of your body. Elbows will be tucked into your lower ribs. Thumbs are back like you're holding out a low tray to either side. As you do that, feel what happens to your shoulder blades. Notice how they kind of roll down and back and together. And now just to really feel that difference, just bring your hands back onto your thighs without changing or holding the shoulders as they were. Do you feel how they roll in? If you can't really feel it, even feel free to take a look at them. Notice, how do they look? Then turn the palms up again and look. Do they look like they're further back? This is a great practice for just even before you're going to do any exercise. Should you go to a gym, you're going to lift up a box. We can tuck our chin and turn our palms up to engage those shoulder blades, holding them down and back to then help our shoulders be safe as we bring our hands forward. So as you bring your hands forward back onto your thighs to rest, see if you can keep your shoulder blades drawn together and down as they are. You can always repeat turning the palms up, thumbs back whenever you need to. But from there, we're going to now, and again, you might want to open up the eyes, it's up to you, but we're going to turn the hands inward and bring the hands around the lower part of the rib cage so that the fingers point inwards, and you're just going to start feeling what happens with your breaths. So we want to make sure we're feeling ribs to the sides, and in between is where the ribs kind of come up. So we want to be about where the ribs come up and just to the sides there, so that as we inhale, we're going to see if we can push our hands outwards. And as we exhale, we're going to see if our fingertips come back in and maybe closer to one another. Inhaling, the heels of the hands push away. Fingertips spread. Exhaling, can they come in? Inhaling, push out those hands with the breath. And back out. And then another thing you can do that can actually also help with increasing the flexibility of the rib cage, because a lot of people don't realize too, as we think of just the skeleton, well, our skeleton itself should have some flexibility, but certainly our muscles, and in between each rib is a muscle that with time and lack of use also can become atrophied and less flexible. So to increase our flexibility, we're gonna do this. I'm gonna invite you to take both hands. We'll just take them to the right side of your rib cage. I'll bring mine to my left. So just think about both hands to the left side of your rib cage. And we're going to breathe into both sides of the rib cage. See if you can push out your hands. Both sides push out. See how my hands pushed out? We're gonna exhale. Let those hands come in. Push in a little bit more, just a subtle extra push. Hold it in there as you breathe in. You're gonna feel pressure really build. Don't hurt yourself. Exhale, let it out. Maybe push in a little bit more. And then as you inhale again, let it release. See if that side feels a little bit more able to expand now. Breathe into maybe both sides a couple of times. Does that right side now feel maybe a little bit more flexible and a little more able to move than the right side? Or I'm sorry, than the left side? And let's try now the left side. So we'll bring both hands over to the left side of the rib cage. And again, the first thing is to just breathe in deeply. Both sides expand, so we'll feel the right hands, or I'm sorry, the hands on the left push out. Exhaling, they come in. We add to where they come in, just pressing in a little further. Hold in the rib cage, no pain, just a little pressure. Breathe in deeply, feeling the pressure build. Exhaling, let the pressure release. Inhaling, release your hands. Let that expand. And then you can let both hands down. And just again, let's take a moment, see what that feels like. You can keep your eyes closed. Do you feel any more like you can expand maybe into the back of the rib cage? Do the sides of the rib cage expand better? Maybe at this point you might even like to bring the heels of your hands back to either side and see if maybe there's more movement than there was earlier. When you exhale, do the heels of the hands come in, the fingertips toward one another? As you inhale, they push outward. gut check for a moment. And when you're ready, you can release those hands. I'm going to show you 2 other potential moves that can help you, especially in a time of stress, really get a deep breath, because a couple of things happen when we're stressed. And it's kind of like one of those chicken and the egg things. Which came first? Did the breathing go bad and then we got more anxiety, or did we get anxiety and then the breathing went bad? Hard to say, but both are like circular. So if we affect the breathing and we calm that down, it calms down the nervous system, anxiety lessens. Same thing happens if we amp up our anxiety or ramp up our nervous system, the breathing's gonna get worse. So we can affect both. And so what we can do is, by consciously making our exhalations longer, we can tell our nervous system that we are safe. That's one thing we can do, because anytime we're under stress, again, breathing's gonna be up here, they're gonna be shorter, shallow, so that you can potentially run. But if we just think as long of an exhalation as we can, navel in toward the spine, a little bit longer than our inhalation, that's gonna be one thing. But to really, like, maybe you're in a panic attack. I've had clients that maybe have panic attacks driving or something, and it's like, I can't calm myself down, what can I do? So I have 2 options for you. One is easier, but it's more risky for your neck. So I don't like that one for my neck pain. If you have no neck issues and you're really good at tucking your chin, then I invite you to do this one. It's a little bit easier. But so chin tuck, shoulder blades down the back, and you would press down gently on your head. And what you'll notice is when you press down, again, that's an option, you don't have to do that. If you try to take a deep breath in, you'll notice you expand down here. Let it out. But again, it's a little riskier on your head. Try not to hurt your neck by pressing down too hard. So the other option, so that your neck is not at all involved, I'm gonna give you 2 positions on this one. So the first one, I'll just sit upright, and I'm gonna do it actually with my hands alongside me. So it's a little bit easier to learn this one if maybe you're on the floor and you have a yoga brick underneath each hand, just basically to bring it up a little higher. But if you kind of wiggle your hips from side to side, so the heels of your hands can be on your seat next to you. And then push down into the seat like you wanna lift yourself. And you don't have to actually lift up, but what we're trying to do is get all of these muscles working, because when they're working for this, they can't breathe now. Then again, try to take a deep breath in. The breath is forced to be in the diaphragm. So you can make yourself diaphragmatically breathe by making your arms busy with doing this. Your upper chest is now busy holding your body weight, or in this case, pressing into your head, so it can't expand up here to take your breath. It has to be down here or you don't breathe. And I just realized, I started talking about the thoracic outlet syndrome, and I didn't finish talking about the neck relation. So part of that is too, when we are chest breathing and our body doesn't get enough air, what happens is we have accessory muscles up here in our neck that either are used to move our head, or if we're not using them, or if we're not, using our diaphragm for breath, they will contract and pull the ribs up toward our neck to get more air in the upper lungs. Who wants their lungs being lifted by their neck? Nobody. So like I said, you aren't breathing properly, you're gonna have more neck pain. Just because your body says, I need air. I can't make you expand here, I can't make you do that work, but I can make you contract here. And so when you see necks getting shorter too, a lot of times, it's like, oh, where's your breathing? That's what we don't want. So again, I gave you this one where we're more upright, but so this other one is similar, but just slightly different. And I like this one too, because it helps you feel what it's like to breathe into the back of the body. And it's really good to be able to breathe into the back, because to be quite honest, I'm also asthmatic. My entire life, I couldn't run even a quarter mile without, and what I realized after I learned yoga and how to breathe diaphragmatically was that all of my asthma was only affecting up here. I don't hardly ever use an inhaler anymore, and I've been racing bicycles for over 15 years. Because I learned how to breathe diaphragmatically, this doesn't bother me. I expand my diaphragm, I get all the air in and out that I need. It doesn't matter if this moves. So it can make a huge difference for you. But so in this one, we're gonna bring our butt back and our hands forward so that we're more bent forward. So that way, when you push into the chair, you breathe in, you're gonna feel your back ribs expand more. And that's just like, again, if you were gardening, if you're bent over basically anything, you're bent over a bicycle, you're wondering, how can I diaphragmatically breathe and maybe keep my core engaged, you could draw your navel in here and breathe into your back. So your diaphragm, again, is 360 degrees all the way around. And that's an important thing that I hope that you recognize today, is how powerful that is and that change that it can make when you do that breathing. And so now with that, I had planned to do a little bit more movement. In fact, let's just do just a few more things standing or sitting, whichever you feel like doing. But because, again, our bodies tend to be more happy being still after they've been moved. So let's just do a few gentle movements so that we can then be still for our guided meditation. And so let's start with, again, just bringing our attention inward. And I'm going to move forward on the chair just because it'll impede your movement less if you're sitting more forward, and also encourage you to engage your core more. So again, if you're ready, and close your eyes. We'll draw the ears back, tuck the chin. And let's lift again from the base of the skull. Lift the rib cage up away from the pelvis, making the spine longer. And then let's just exhale and let the head fall forward. Just gently dropping the head forward toward the chest. Now remember how we drew those shoulder blades down the back? You can just pull them back, or if you'd like, turn those palms up to the sides again, because the more you pull the shoulder blades back here, the more you're gonna feel it stretch down from the base of the skull. So keeping your shoulder blades there, but you can relax the arms. We're gonna inhale now and reach through the nose up to the sky. Inhaling, reach way up through the nose. Lengthen the spine. Exhaling, we'll bring the chin back down. Tucking the chin a little bit more deeply in toward the chest. Shoulder blades down the back. And inhaling, we'll come back up. Reach the nose up, extend the chin upwards this time, reaching the lower jaw beyond the upper jaw. Release the jaw back to center, and exhaling, return the head to a neutral position. So we're gonna take the underside of the chin parallel with the floor and ceiling. So imagine your head is like on a railroad track, so parallel with the horizon. And we are going to inhale and slide our head forward. And as you do that, feel how you get that pressure right at the base of the skull. Now as you exhale, slide that head way back on those rails. Again, this is where you want to see triple chins. Chin is down, keep the chin low. Yep, there you go. And notice how you feel the opening at the base of the skull. We'll inhale again, come forward. If that was too uncomfortable, just don't go as far. Exhaling, draw it way back. Chin is low, base of the skull lifting, triple chins. From there, now just soften the head. Bring your attention to those lower ribs and draw them back like you want to touch them toward the chair behind you, but not rounding the spine, just kind of bringing them back slightly so that you feel your upper abdominals starting to work. Notice how we can bring a little bit of tension into the upper abdominals to now support the back, trying to find that place of equal pressure in the front of the torso as the back of the torso. And what you can also do here is an option to just see how that feels. For a moment, just round the upper body forward, round the shoulders, round the head. Notice how you start to feel pressure, like maybe in the middle back, the space right below the shoulder blades. And again, now let's reverse that. Let's almost lift the chest to the ceiling and bring the head back. Notice how now the front of the body has to really work. Maybe there's some strains or aches in other places, more on the front side than the back. And now let's continue that movement, but just make it a little less and a little less each time. Kind of rounding forward, rounding back. Making it a little smaller and smaller. Feel it go all the way down to the pelvis. As you look up, you lift the chest, the pelvis kind of tilts forward. As you round the shoulders forward, the pelvis tilts back. And let's begin making all of that just a little smaller until we find this place where first we're going to find the pelvis feeling more balanced on the seat. Notice where there's equal tension around the front of the pelvic bowl and the back. So a little bit of tension above the pubic bone. The low back feels supported. Then from there, the lower ribs are drawn slightly down and back so that the rib cage is directly above the pelvis. We lift the base of the skull, lengthen the neck, and can find a position where about equal tension again in the front of the body, now supporting the back of the body, as opposed to the relaxed position we tend to find where we're just rounded. From there, you can allow your eyes to remain closed and your core and spine nice and stable as you now bring your right hand just out to your right side slightly. We are going to touch our right index finger and thumb together, and then the middle finger and thumb, and then the ring finger and thumb, and little finger and thumb. And then we'll reverse ring, middle, index, middle, ring, I'm sorry, yeah, reverse it, I just said that all wrong. And just see if you can go back and forth, and how quickly you can do that. One more time, and then we'll make a fist. Make your elbows straight as you make that fist. Just drop your arm down to the side, straight elbow, shoulder down and back, make a fist. Feel that flexes, and you feel it work all the way up the forearm. Now extend out your fingers, like you want to do really big wide fingers. Show everybody your palm, and then we'll make a fist again. And extend the fingers. And now soften the fingers and allow them to just kind of begin making like any sort of swirling, moving motion toward the side of the body. Maybe just beginning to kind of rotate and twirl the fingers and wrist, allowing that movement to gently begin coming from the wrist up to the elbow. And now from the elbow, maybe we can begin moving the shoulder a little bit. So most of you don't have anybody really by you, so the most likely thing you're gonna bump is maybe a chair. If you do have somebody close, just be a little cautious as we allow that right arm to basically just explore the space around us. The hand, the arm, the elbow moving all around, and slowly allow your hand to continue making its way up toward the sky. Continue breathing slow and deep. And let's finish now with turning the palm in, the thumb back as we finish a nice long inhalation. The whole right side of the body reaching up. Feel the right side lift above the right shoulder above the left shoulder. Right sit bone pressing down. Exhale and let that right hand float back onto your right thigh and just pause. Observe the difference between that right arm and even down the right side of the torso compared to the left. The right side likely feels more relaxed, more ready to let go and release, while the left side might still feel a little tense. So let's now balance those out by taking the left hand out to the left side, shoulder blade down and back again for a moment. You might want to turn the palm up, keeping that shoulder blade in good position. The core is gently engaged with those ribs together and down, and then we'll begin touching index finger to thumb, followed by middle finger, then ring finger and little finger. Then index, middle, nope, I did it wrong again, ring, middle, index, and yeah, go just back and forth. I'm not gonna try to name them, it's too late at night, back and forth. Few times back and forth. This is just good for your brain to connect with your body, where it ends and where it begins. And then let's now make a fist, elbow straight, shoulder blade down and back. Make that fist so strong you feel that all the way up to the elbow. And now relax that, stretch out the fingers, extend the wrist, feel that palm open up really big. Let's again make a fist. One more time, extend out the fingers. And now again, relax the hand. Maybe allow those fingers to begin finding like a gentle wave or like piano fingers. Maybe the wrist begins to rotate. Just see what feels good, some sort of organic movement. Just exploring how that hand, wrist, forearm, elbow, and eventually even shoulder just want to move. This is actually a bodywork technique that will sometimes be used in massage or craniosacral sessions where we actually do unwindings of a professional on a client, where we just follow the intuition of the body and allowing the fascia to unwind and release the tension it holds. It's essentially what we're looking to do now, but just really thinking about exploring movement and making your way eventually up toward the ceiling. And as you again inhale, turn turn the palms up, allowing the fingers to gently curl. The hands could be toward the upper thighs, the elbows kind of tucked back and down. And now let your left foot be firmly planted on the floor as we take the right foot forward, just lifting that foot away from the floor, and we'll do some ankle rotations on that right side. Just rotating the ankle nice and big in one direction, and then we'll pause and reverse in the other. And let's now bring it back to neutral, and we'll flex the ankle and point and flex, if you can with a straight knee, and point. And then let's place that foot back on the floor and contract the thigh on that right side. It might help if you think about pushing your foot into the floor or trying to like push your foot down and away without it actually sliding. Feeling that right leg contract, and then let it soften. Feel that whole right leg soften. Observe the change between the right and the left side. One more deep breath in and out. And we'll let our weight stay on that right foot, feeling the right little toe and great toe all on the floor. Inhaling, extend the left leg out, straightening that left knee if possible. And we'll again do some big ankle rotations. Nice big circles. Notice too as you move, does it feel much different from the right side? Reverse the direction of circles. We'll come back to center. We'll flex and point, flex and point. One more time, flex and point. And then we'll place our foot back on the ground. And think about contracting the quad again. It might help you to kind of press your foot into the floor, maybe almost pressing it forward, feeling that left quad contract. Notice if you can keep your right leg relaxed or not. See if you can keep the right side, the arms relaxed, just the left, let it relax. And from here, you're welcome to stay forward on the chair as you are, or you might want to slide back so that at least part of the low back is touching the chair, even if maybe not the shoulder blades are. If you end up sitting all the way back against the chair, that's also perfectly fine. This is time for you to just be present. But I will encourage you to keep the chin tucked, the base of the skull lifted, the shoulders down and back. As you allow your attention to turn inside, observing the change in your body, noticing how maybe when we first began, there might have been parts or places of your body that were feeling tension or discomfort that you weren't sure if you could let go of. Maybe it tends to regularly be present with you, but now it might be softer. Observe the movement of the breath, and notice if you're able to take it a little bit deeper, allowing each inhalation to last just a little bit longer, and your exhalations to be full, slow, and complete, drawing the navel toward the spine, feeling the ribs move in, emptying the lungs completely to reduce anxiety, stress, and tension. Inhaling, we fill, as you breathe in, you're noticing any areas of tension being held. I invite you to bring your breath specifically into that place, as if that place, that point, that part of your body alone does your breathing. As if you no longer have a nose, but rather maybe that spot in your back, or on your leg, wherever it might be. Focus your attention there as if those tissues alone. Inhale and draw in that vibrant healing energy. Exhale and release any pain, stress, or tension that they're holding on to. As you continue breathing, allow your inhalations and exhalations to continue expanding as if you no longer need just your lungs to breathe, but it's now the entire torso. With each inhalation, the breath fills all the way to the pelvic floor and the tops of the shoulders. As you exhale, we empty from the pelvic floor all the way to the tops of the shoulders out through the nose. And as we next inhale, it expands even further, all the way out to the hips and pelvis and out to the deltoids and the shoulders. As we exhale, any tension from those areas is released. The shoulders relax and soften. The hips and pelvis grow a little softer and looser. Inhaling, we expand that inhalation to the upper arms, through the neck to the base of the skull and down to the knees. Exhaling, all of those tissues exhale, release, relax. We feel them constrict and draw inward as the exhaled breath is released outward. The stagnation, the toxicity gone. We inhale peace, vitality, vibrancy, clarity. That is moved all the way to our elbows, our knees, the top of our head. And as we exhale, we release any waste back out through our nose. Any waste we release is always absorbed by the earth. Mother Earth has been here forever. She can absorb anything that you no longer need, take it in and restore it to healthy, new, healing energy that you can again breathe in. Breathing in again, expanding all the way to the tips of the fingers, to the crown of the head and the tips of the toes. Exhaling and feeling even the fingers shrink just slightly, just on the smallest level, as every cell releases its breath and shrinks inward slightly, growing slightly smaller. Inhaling, there's expansion, creation, and life. Exhaling, there's peace, release, freedom. Allow the next several breaths to continue moving this way into and out of the body. does it need to press into the floor or wiggle a bit for you to go, okay, that's my little toe, I found it. There's no right or wrong, just notice what you need. And know that oftentimes when we do catch a toe, it's because we forgot about it. And how about that left little toe? And when you're ready, just begin wiggling the toes in general. Bringing awareness back into the feet and begin moving the hands, maybe extending the fingers a little bit, or rubbing the palms gently together. You can allow your eyes to remain closed. And we're going to share in one Om, or at least I'll share an Om. You're welcome to join me. So when chanting Om, it's important to know that Om is not pronounced like you see it spelled. The spelling that we see of OM is a shortened version. It is actually spelled and pronounced Aum, A-U-M. So when we chant Om, we will start with a big Ah, wide open mouth at the back of the throat. As we move to the Ooh, it's gonna move higher in the sinuses, and eventually finishes with way up high in the sinuses. And it's proven that people who chant Om three times daily, that they have 20% fewer sinus issues because of the vibration. So if you would like to join me, again, it'll just be one deep breath in, we let it out on exhalation, we just exhale out the Om until it's done. So when you're ready, deep breath in. We'll bring the hands together, rubbing them together quickly, create some heat and energy in the palms. And once the hands feel nice and warm, cup the hands over the eyes. Avoid putting any pressure on the eyes, just cupped, domed hands over the eyes. And breathe deeply the heat and energy into the body. Allow that light, heat, and energy to fill you, to remove any remaining stagnation and fill every bit and corner of your body with light and peace. When you're ready, slowly open your eyes into the palms and release the hands. Namaste. And Namaste, in case you're wondering, means I honor the light within you, in which the entire universe dwells. I honor the light within you, which is of love, of truth, of peace, and of light. And when you are in that place in you, and I am in that place in me, we are one. Just so you know, you aren't saying anything too weird. So I would like to, any feedback, any questions, but I'm really curious if anybody came in maybe feeling some stress, some anxiety, some pain, that maybe you felt a shift by the end, or you're feeling a little more calm, mindful. Would you like to share, Sarah?
Yeah, I'm gonna turn this off.
Okay.
I don't